What can coaches or teammates do to help athletes get over their mental block?
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot that they can do. So athletes who are dealing with mental blocks, they're struggling with their confidence. They are struggling with feeling like they're good enough. Because a lot of times with mental blocks, it's not just I have a mental block that I'm working through on my back handspring, right? It's I'm not a good tumbler. I'm not a good
Yeah.
cheerleader. I'm letting my team down. I'm
Yeah.
sometimes it gets big enough as I'm not a good person, right? So there's this thing that happens with mental blocks that makes it so much bigger than one specific skill, right? It bleeds over
Mhm.
into other areas. So as a coach or a teammate, something that you can do to really support your athletes who are dealing with mental blocks is really encouraging them and not, hey, you got this, do it, right? Because athletes with
Yeah.
mental blocks, they hear you say that and you're trying to encourage them, but they're looking at that situation from their lens. Remember, mental
Yeah.
blocks, it happens because of the way they're processing the situations they're in, and they're doing it in an unhelpful way. So when you as a
Mhm.
teammate say, hey, you got it, just do it, the athlete hears, you should have this already. Why are you struggling on this? Why
Yeah.
aren't you doing this?
Yeah.
Right? So it makes things worse. They feel defeated and it's harder,
Yeah.
right? So if you've ever, as a coach, this is big, where you're trying to motivate an athlete to push through a mental
Yeah.
block and then the tears come or they just shut down, that's what's
Uh-huh.
happening is what you said to be encouraging was heard very differently. And so really just being encouraging, saying, we believe in you, right? Or even just as they're doing things, it's like, wow, like appreciate their effort and their progress. Like, oh my goodness, I just saw you, you work through like 5 reps on your own. That is amazing. Like, oh my gosh, your legs are so powerful. Like that, what an amazing job you're doing today. Or I'm so glad you're on this team. You're a valuable part of this team. I can't imagine this team without you. So just making them feel good as a person, building them up, helping them
Mhm.
see the little ways that they're doing a really good job, and that'll help build up their confidence as opposed to did I do the skill, yes or no. So that can be really helpful as a teammate or a coach.
Okay, those are good ones because I think
Yeah,
everyone, their go-to encouraging statement is like, "You got it. You can do
just go
it. You
for
have
it.
it."
Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
it's not helpful and it's well intentioned, right? It's not they don't mean
Mhm.
it in any kind of bad way. It's just understanding again, the mental block's like the big scary monster that casts a
Yeah.
shadow. It's like that is their lens. They don't feel like they're where they're supposed to be. And so they assume that's how everybody else feels. So just knowing
Yeah.
that when you're having a conversation or you're interacting with someone dealing with a challenge or a mental block in a skill, that they are coming from a place where they don't feel like they're where they're supposed to be, and so really try to build them up as a person, award, like just reward their effort, be
Mhm.
encouraging and just about who they are, not necessarily
Yeah.
related to doing the skill, right? The less
Yeah.
attention we can give to the whole skill, the better. Because there's already way too
Okay.
much pressure and attention on
Yeah.
the big skill. Like doing it, getting over it for good. It's too much. So
Okay.
the little things.
Okay, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
So if someone found this helpful or they suffer from mental blocks or anxieties or fears themselves, then how can they work with you or how can you help them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the easiest way to get started is to sign up for a no cost conversation with me. So, I offer free performance check sessions, and that is a 30-minute virtual call. And the whole point of that is really to discuss what are your goals, what do you want, what's your dream, where do you want to be, and then where you are today. And I want to have a conversation and help this athlete see how to kind of close the gap. How do you get from where you are to where you want to be? And getting them to understand what's happening so they can let go of that frustration. That's really helpful. And what are some steps they can go ahead and start taking to move forward? So that's something I offer. It's called a performance check session. You can get signed up for it at mgpcoach.com/performance check session. And we'll put the link below this video. We'll include it somewhere so that they can get access and get signed up for that. Spots are limited, so if they want to get signed up, if this is interesting, absolutely go ahead and get signed up, please. But it's a great conversation. I spend about 20 minutes with the athlete, then do a parent recap at the end for the last 10 minutes. And it's no pressure, no obligation. It's just, I just want to help you, talk to you, give you some things to think about, give you things to consider maybe you haven't before so that they can move forward in their skills. And then if they found it helpful and they want to know more about what the programs look like and what maybe the best next step would be for them, then at the end of the conversation, then we'll talk through those options together.
All right, that's a good option.
Awesome.
And
Well,
I know
thank you.
you also have mental coaching or other courses available too, right? And free trainings.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got tons of resources on my website. So if you go to mgpcoach.com, that is where you can find a lot of different resources. Also, we have a course. So I have a 12-week Mind Over Mental Block course that's available. We are going to be adding in some Q&A, office hour, like more live coach sessions. So to make sure that as you're working through the content and the curriculum in my 6-step Mind Over Mental Block process, as you work through that every week, you have an opportunity to ask your questions in person with a coach, one of my expert mental coaches. So that is an option. And then we're also going to be starting small group classes here in the next little bit. So keep an eye out for information on that. So lots of ways to get support from us. Just get in contact with us however you can. But a good place to start is that mgpcoach.com, our website.